everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia.
I'm Joey Evans.
Today we're looking at a game that just was announced a few weeks ago. I didn't know anything about it till then. The Wrath of Fire Mountain. This is from a duo of designers, Phil Walker Harding and Eric Lang, and it's from Game Right, because they're the only company still making games in tins.
They come in tins.
Yeah.
I think this is because I think tins aren't too expensive to make, actually.
Is that what it is?
And I think they look good on a shelf, because if a Game Right game is printed, it's going to be everywhere.
Yes.
It's going to be in big box stores.
You'll be able to get it at Kohl's.
It's true.
That might be true. So I didn't know what to expect from this other than it was a light game and there was dinosaurs involved. What? Well, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zee's going to show us as he teaches us how to play.
Here we go. Players are going to be taking turns rolling the dice, utilizing the actions on those dice to deploy new cave people, to move them around, to gain new dinosaur companions, and to score victory points. Once someone gets to, with 3 players, which is what we're looking at, 20 victory points or more, at the end of that scoring, whoever has the most points is going to be the winner of the game. So we're going to have here a random star player. We'll say it's blue, and they get to roll the dice up to 3 times, kind of Yahtzee style. So they're going to roll these dice. They can keep whatever they want to, and they can re-roll whatever they want to. So let's say they're keeping the volcano, and they'll keep these 2 eggs right here. They'll roll these 2. Great, that's 2 more volcanoes, and maybe they'll keep one of those and re-roll the other, and they get a little foot. Okay, so now they can use any of these they want to. The volcanoes are mandatory, and what they entail is taking one of your little people and putting them on the volcano. The number of spaces here changes based on the number of players. So this one is for 3 players. So they put that out there. They have to do 1 more. If they have no one in their supply, they actually have to take somebody off of the land and take them to the volcano. So these 2 have been dealt with. The eggs are going to allow you, if you want to, and these are now all optional, the volcanoes are not. You can take one of these people and send them over here, and they might let you get a dinosaur. So that's 1, and I'll do it again. Now that I have 2 people over here, I could take one of these dinosaurs, namely that one. The cost is across the bottom, 3 eggs, 4, 2, and 3. So I could now return these 2 to my supply and take one of these pteranodons here. I'm going to put a little ring on it so that I denote it is my little fella, and he now joins my group. And I'll take a card. There's 2 cards here for the 2 little fellas. So I have this in front of me as a player letting me know what it is he does. Basically, his ability is that when I move him, he can move to any grass or jungle space. Any of these grass space, any of the jungle spaces. The foot lets me move somebody who is out here 1 step for every one of those feet. What I did not roll, the 2 things you haven't seen, are the hut, which would have led me deploy into the hut, one of my people, and then the cave, that would let me, deploy someone into the cave. Since I didn't have anybody out here, I couldn't use the foot to move, so that's okay. I just waste that. And now it goes on to the next player, unless we have a scoring that happens, and that scoring is going to happen when the volcano is full. But that's not the case yet, so the next player would go, they take the dice, they roll them, they're going to go ahead and keep some things here. So let's say they do that. In fact, I'm going to say they kept what they rolled the very first roll. Why not? They're keeping this. They're happy with that. They're going to use that, send somebody over here, and they can just hang out there until they have enough people to get a dinosaur. They're going to use these 2 here to deploy 2 people to the cave, and then with these 2 steps, they can move this one here, and they can move the other one, let's say, there. All right? And then that's it. The next person's going to go. One thing I am skipping over that is very, very important is, and this is a player aid, by the way, for everybody, that shows you roll, you place and move your pieces and whatnot, and then you check for the eruption, which is when this is full. There's 1 step before that eruption, which is very important. That is checking for tremors. Whoever is controlling the volcano gets to change the landscape here every time it's their turn. And by controlling, I mean having majority here or being tied for that majority. Because when this is full, we're going to score victory points for all of these regions. So whoever has the most people out there And I'll just go ahead and put some of these little folks out there right now, like that, okay? Let's do something like this. Everybody's going to score every region that is, again, either the grass or the jungle. The size of the group is how many points you're going to get, and whoever has the most people, that's the person who's scoring. So, for example, red would get 2 victory points for controlling this jungle size 2, and we just simply move them up on the scoring track for that. And then there's 1 blue and 2 purple here, so purple is going to get 2 victory points for controlling that region, and again, we move them up. Red gets 1 point for this small region here, and purple gets 1 for this small region, and 1 for this small region, red here. But these regions are going to change their shape because, like I said, the eruption means that the blue player, before they check if there's a scoring that happens, can, since they are controlling the volcano, change the landscape. And they can do so like this. They could push this volcano in one of these 4 directions and have the tile that falls off wrap around. So something like this. They could push this way, like that. This one would come along, and then this one that comes out of the bottom goes up here to the top. So we just changed that this area now is an area of 2 that purple is winning. And if this happens, say again, because then, because purple now, let's say on their turn has 3 here and they choose to push it, they could push this way, let's say. And now this is going to go here, and this one wraps around. Hey, look at that. Purple's now controlling an area of 3 with just this one little guy. So the landscape is going to be changing, and the person who gets to do it is whoever is controlling the volcano. Again, the volcano is going to go to, when a scoring happens, whoever has the most people in the volcano, they're going to get 3 victory points. Everybody else is going to get 1 if they're there at all. So 3 for purple and 3 for blue. They're tied. Red gets 1. And then everybody comes off of it. And then the regions are scored, like I said, based on their size. But here's the tricky part as well. This region, for example, is going to give 2 victory points to purple because there's 2 tiles. The winner comes off the board. Anybody who didn't score gets to stick around. So blue now has a little bit of a leg up in that area. All right. Whenever you deploy to the hut or the cave, if you have any dinosaurs, you're allowed to deploy them too. They belong to you. They basically behave more or less just like your little cave people here. They cannot go to the volcano, so you're not going to be deploying the dinosaurs to the volcano. And you need to also deploy tribe people to the eggs over here. But other than that, they control areas just like you would expect these people to. And you've got different ones plus a few others, so you can randomize which ones are in the game. They suggest you begin with these 4, and they're going to have various abilities. This guy, like I said, when he moves, he can fly anywhere. The Triceratops, when you're scoring his region, all the people there, the cave people, are ignored. The T-Rex here, when you're moving into a grass or a jungle tile, he removes any one enemy cave person on that tile and returns it to the owner. So he's a little bitey. He's got a big head, and he's a little bit bitey. And then over here, the Brontosaurus counts as 3 pieces when you're scoring a grass or jungle region. So he's very big. He controls an area very handily. So there you go. Like I said, you continue until you get to a certain number of victory points based on the number of players. And at the end of that scoring, whoever has the most points is the winner of the game.
We often don't talk about price point here because we always say, a game is value to you, whatever if you think it's reasonable. And also price points change so much.
Yes.
Right. But there's no question that Game Right games are fairly inexpensive.
They are below the curve. It's why it's worth noting.
I agree.
And it's full of plastic and all kinds of cool little things in here. The little dinosaurs are all different, which is neat. Mm-hmm. And for me, the biggest draw of the game. I mean, this is definitely the Eric Lang stamp on this game. He did games like Blood Rage and Rising Sun where you got to control big monsters.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Here you get to control a little dinosaur. And there's 8 of them per game, so even if you're playing with 4 players, if you really want dinosaurs, you can get them.
You will get some, yeah, I agree with that. In some of his earlier games, I'm thinking mostly like Ankh, which is one of Eric Lang's games. Yeah, you weren't always guaranteed to get a monster, a
yeah.
baddie, like a big bad that now is your big bad. In this one, you absolutely will, and it feels great to have a tribes person with an ability. It's basically what it boils down to. It's like, great.
Right.
Now, this guy flies anywhere I want him to. Oh, this guy, he counts as 3 dudes.
Or he blocks all your guys out.
Yeah.
And that's and you can get them fairly soon if you want to. Like, there are some cheaper ones, or you can shoot for the moon and try to go for the little ones. I like that choice.
And there's 2 of each, which means not everyone is going to get one, and I like that a lot too. There's going to be some variety there. It's like, ooh, you got that one. Maybe I'll buy the other one. Oh, no, Tom just bought it. Now I'll never have it the whole game.
But the big thing I thought, the little touches they put, like there's multiple cards. So if you take the Dinosaur Mini and a card that tells you what it does. So everyone's going to have one of those in front. So you have to keep looking out there. What does this guy do? That little touch.
Yeah, you get the player aid with the figure.
Yes, I'm like, why has that not been done before? That's really good.
Yeah, I actually really like that.
That's really nice. Attention to detail.
I think this game is going to appeal to people who like King of Tokyo. Yes. Because this has a similar feel with the Yahtzee re-roll mechanism, roll once, roll twice, roll thrice. And the eggs are very similar to the technology upgrades.
Right.
I'm spending them. The only negative to that, and this is the only negative I have about the game in general, is that if you have a game that, and these aren't very long games, but I would say the last third or fourth of a game, when all the dinosaurs is gone, because everyone should buy dinosaurs, those eggs don't mean as much.
In general.
Right. You want to re-roll away from them.
Yeah, so you have now almost a dead spot that could happen to you because everything else you can use for something to some degree.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes all your figures are on the board, and in that case, you don't want to roll the hut or the cave.
Right.
That's true.
Sometimes you are where you want to be, and the feet aren't as worthwhile. I think it balances out. I think there's definitely faces become sometimes worthless, and you want to roll away from them. The only ones you have to do are the volcano, and sometimes you get too many of them even, and you're like, I'm already winning the volcano.
Right.
Putting extra guys there is actually just hurting me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm already winning, it won't be more points when I score it. It'll still be 3 points.
Right.
If I beat you 6 guys to 1, that's a waste of my people, So I think that's interesting, too, that give and take. I have a couple of small issues with it. I think the little plastic rings that you put on the bottom of the dinosaurs aren't great. They don't stick around very well sometimes. They are hard plastic.
I'm worried they're going to break at some point.
Yeah, they seem really flimsy. I think if they had been rubberized a bit, that would have been better.
Yeah.
Something else, a different way to demarcate that that's my dinosaur. And then the other thing is the friendly ties on the volcano means that there's a lot of moving the board. There's a lot of like,
sure,
I make this set, I undo it, I break it this way, I do this other thing. It happens a little too much. I thought it was a bit, it ends up feeling a little random if there's a big tie in the middle and everybody sort of does this thing.
I actually like that, I think, more than you, because I don't want one person controlling it the whole time.
Right.
Because that's a lot of power to control the volcano.
Absolutely, right.
And I do like that you might be controlling the volcano, but at the cost of controlling the regions out there.
Right.
And then you end up, because there for a while you do that back and forth. People push it one way, you go back this way, back and forth, and then you want to move that volcano to another row to get out of that circle, which I think it adds an element. But it does happen a lot, and that is true.
The game is only 30 minutes. It's a pretty short game, so there's not a whole lot that we can say about it. So what are the final thoughts?
I think this is fantastic for the price point, like we said. Target audience, I think this is really well finalized, well made. There's a couple of little issues I have with it, but I think it's going to be a slam dunk. I'm giving this one an 8. It's one that I am happy to play. I don't think I'm necessarily in the target audience even, and I'm happy to play. I think there's plenty more for me to explore in here, try different combinations of dinosaurs, play with younger kids, play with people that are coming to it from Yahtzee or something of that style, and they've never done area control. This is a great way to introduce to someone, oh yeah, if you have more people in this group, then you score it. Simple idea, but some people really have never experienced area control games. I think this is going to do well. I think it's one that I absolutely recommend for a lot of different people and families out there. So an 8 out of 10 from me.
I'm also giving it an 8 out of 10. This is target audience for me with my family. But I'll play this with adults too. This really fits in their line. We mentioned Eric Lang. I think Phil Walker Harding. I don't know, who did what in the game necessarily, but it's a nice collaboration. It's easy. It's the kind of game that I hope people buy in the store.
Yes.
Because I think they're going to have a good time with it. It has a timer on it. You can force the end of the game. It has similarities to other popular games. It made me think of Forbidden Desert. It made me think of King of Tokyo. But it also feels like its own beast. I like to call it My Little Blood Rage to some degree. But it's fast and furious, and that's perfect for what it is.
I agree. I'm actually an 8 as well because I really
first.
I know. I wish I would have gone first. But the whole thing is I like this. I can see how some people could be frustrated by the amount of trimmers back and forth, but I think it balances out. And that's a big thing. And I think this shines because the dinosaur powers. I love grabbing those different dinosaurs, getting them out there and going up against them and have them on your team.
And they're different from game to game.
They
there's
are.
8 of them. That's really cool.
That's what really adds some variability to this. I like it. I'm not crazy about the 10. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I've given up complaining about that too much.
Yeah.
I'm still mentioning it, though. All right, anyway, that is Wrath of Fire Mountain. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia.
I'm Joey Evans.
Everyone get a dinosaur.
Before the eruption.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.